Hey guys, I haven't made a video in a while, but I got about 2 days left of school, so I'm gonna start posting more often. I'm going to a lot of events this summer. But someone on my Instagram asked me how they can start Vietnam reenacting. Well, a lot of people have asked me that question, so consider this part one. Now, if you want to do Vietnam reenacting, most people don't know this, but there's a difference between airsoft and reenacting, because a lot of young kids are doing Vietnam airsoft, and they get their uniforms totally screwed up and their gear screwed up, and that's a rant video for another day. But there are some correct Vietnam airsofters, and that's how I started. So I'll give you the basic part one of stuff you will need to, well, start airsofting. There's two parts to start airsofting and basic reenacting. And then I will get more in depth and advanced and talk about personal items, but that's for more hardcore reenactors. So consider this part one of two for how to start reenacting and or airsoft. And then after that, there will be how to improve your impression. For I'll do a little split up, like how to improve impression for airsoft and how to improve impression for reenacting, because I have two different impressions right now. For example, I'm corporal in reenacting and I'm a sergeant in airsoft, and I pack my ruck completely different for the two. Like I use Vietnam chapstick and for my reenacting, when I just use regular chapstick for airsoft. So the split up, and I will get into that. Now, first things first, this is the least fun to get, and it's a uniform. No one looks forward to getting a uniform. You look forward to getting guns and gears, and people usually skimp out on uniforms and really just don't go all the way. Maybe get cheap Rothko fatigues. I'm going to tell you off the bat, more militaria, they've been saying they're going to start making uniforms again, but they've been saying that for 2 years. As of now, the best thing you can get is originals. There's nothing else better than that, especially for the price. You're going to look at maybe... Okay, I paid $70 for the shirt. And I have probably another... Let's see. I have 75 in them patches. Until my friend learned how to sew, and I was sewing my stuff for free. But I was paying a tailor to get the patches on. So, the uniforms do get kind of pricey, but it's the best you can get if you want to be dedicated to this hobby. And you know what? If you don't like it, you can sell it. I mean, anyone will buy it. When I see stuff just a little bit below retail, I buy it on the spot. So, we'll get started. I got slant pocket fatigue shirt. This is probably the one you should get. This one's 69 dated. Honestly, these are comfortable as hell. I wear this around the house, to school, just because it's breathable, it feels good. And I love it. I mean, it's got big pockets, and it looks great. So, the first thing you're going to get is your last name and U.S. Army. You're not going to get any of this other stuff, or the airborne, or that, or this. You're just going to get that. Alright, no unit. You're going to wait till you find a unit. It took me probably about a year until I found a really good unit where I was actually happy to be part of it. New England 1st Cav. Before then, I would just go into random unit events. I mean, I did 173rd, 101st, like random stuff, you know, until I found an actual unit I was dedicated to, and I got 1st Cav patch on there. And 2-way is airborne, and I portray someone that switched over from 25th, so I still keep 25th on my other arm with corporal, and then I have my jump certification and basic infantry. But you're just going to get your last name and U.S. Army on there. If someone's charging you more than $5, $5 to $10, then you're paying too much for get the patches on. It's best to actually, for me, it's so freaking cheap. Instead of getting the custom ones and more militaria, go to eBay. You can get custom name patches, and you can just write U.S. Army instead of paying, $5, pay $2, And especially when you have more than 7 fatigue shirts, that saves me a lot of money. Next up, trouser belt. I'm guilty of using the wrong trouser belt until I finally got a good one. Before this, I was using brass buckle with green belt, but in reality, if you're doing U.S. Army, you're going to need brass buckle, black belt, brass in that end too. Pretty simple. You can pick these up at surplus stores for $7 to $15. Next up, the one exception for reproductions that I would say is t-shirts. This one, however, is 1969 dated. It's original. But I do also use Rothko shirts, and a lot of my buddies use Rothko shirts because it does save money. And believe it or not, Rothko did not manage to fuck up a t-shirt. I mean, they screw up everything else, but seriously, Rothko sucks. Speaking of Rothko, Jungle Boots. Rothko makes the world's worst jungle boots. They're a dime a dozen. Do not get them. I know it seems like you're saving money in the long run, but when I first started, I went through 3 pairs of Rothko boots, and with that money, I could have bought originals. Now, I got plenty of originals. These are my everyday wear. The rest I like to keep mint. Well, most of them. Except that one right there, which a Vietnam vet gave me and I never cleaned because that's how he got him back from Vietnam. Hasn't worn them since, so I'm not cleaning them. Now, boot care is very important. When you're done with any event, you got to polish them, shine them, clean them, and I personally put water repellent stuff on them before and after events. Obviously, I didn't clean, but I just got back from an event about a week ago, and I have not had time because, you know, last day of school is coming up. I have so many finals. So, these are original boots. I picked these up on eBay. You can get them from eBay, trade. You could maybe get them for around $120, depending on size. If you find wide boots, those are the hardest to get. From what I can tell, 10.5 wides are the most expensive and the hardest to get. You know, if you have a size 4, yours should be cheap as hell. If you got a size 14, yours should be cheap as hell. It's the boots everyone wants that are expensive. I put my dog tag in there because Hamburger Hill, the movie. Easy way to tell original boots. Most of the time, they'll have that little notch in the back. Look for this brand or NIC, and I can't remember the rest. Just do some research. Do research. There's a lot of fakes out there, but there's also a lot of originals. People ask me where to get this stuff. You get Facebook Marketplace, eBay, trade, through vets. They're everywhere. You just gotta look. Next up, if you're just starting off, I don't want to see any field caps, any boonies. I'm guilty of this, but I did wear a bandana most of the time. Now, boonies, you guys should not be able to screw up. It's not that hard to get correct boonies. I mean, even Rothko ones do suck ass, but they're somewhat acceptable. Just go for original if you can find it. But the one thing I feel that I need to add to this video is field caps. Now, this is a field cap. I see people wear them. This is not Vietnam. Always look at the stitching. This is Vietnam, 1969 dated. It has 2 stitching. Get 2 stitching. I don't want to see any non-Vietnam caps. It's just one of those things you gotta do it right the first time. Onto helmet. Do not do any graffiti on your helmet when you're just starting. A lot of people won't take it seriously, and some companies are really strict on graffiti or hippie stuff. I'm actually kind of dreading having to take off my cover, because this is my extra helmet. Because this is my main helmet that I take everywhere with me. And I do got a lot of graffiti on it, and I do not want to take it out. Don't spend money on a cheap liner. Get a real one. And I don't want to see any cat eye bands. That will ruin your impression, and you will get made fun of like crazy. And I will post you on Firebunker. Cat eye bands are basically the eye bands, but with 2 glow-in-the-dark squares on the end. And last but not least, pants. These things are probably the hardest things to get, are original pants. My friend Kyle really hooked me up for $40. The dude seriously hooked me up. So, Lefty, if you're watching this, thanks again. But I got the original pants for $40. And they're great. But, yeah. That's about all. Stay tuned for part 2, which will cover basic field gear. And, thanks. See ya.